Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so this is the next morning. The Lakers had a fantastic afternoon, and when I say afternoon, I mean right after. It's 12:30 game in Dallas yesterday, where we came back from a 27-point deficit and won the game. I wake up in the morning and I wish that was on my mind, but it ain't. What's on my mind is LeBron James' foot injury. That's what's on my mind. I don't wake up feeling any better about that injury than I did when he said I heard it pop. I'm not chilling. I don't know how everybody else is feeling. I'm not chilling. Maybe it's just how my brain's wired. I don't know. But I wake up in the morning and I hear the sound bites from him talking about the injury, and he sound concerned after the game. Now I listen to the doctors. We go to the YouTube doctor. I wish I knew his name. Doesn't come off top, but he's the famous guy you go to every time an injury happens in sports. You immediately go to his channel, and he always has an upload telling you what he thinks may have happened. Damn good. Wish I knew his name. But went to him. He was telling us essentially what he thought it was. He sounded more optimistic than pessimistic based on exactly what came out of LeBron James's mouth, which is I heard a pop. Due to his thoughts, he said if LeBron would have worded I felt a pop, it would have been more so along the lines of what he's used to hearing in regards to people talking about injuries of that nature. What is that? Possibly Lisfranc foot injury, same thing that kept our guy Chet Holmgren over there in OKC out of the season all year this year. That injury, that's what he's worried about. If Bron would have said he felt a pop, it might have been something that would have been more so along the lines of what he was describing. So I'm a layman. I don't know nothing about doctor stuff. I'm an idiot when it comes to that. So I encourage everybody to just brace themselves for whatever news may come, because I think everybody's on the high of the way the game ended, and I think most people saw LeBron finish the game and are just assuming he's 100%, or rather will be able to just kind of shrug that off. And what I'm telling you is I think there's more information to find out to tell us whether or not he'll be able to shrug that off, and we'll find out when it comes out. But watching him walk off the court yesterday, hobbled as bad as he did, seeing him trying to run up and down the court and having trouble turning, certain stuff he was trying to do with his foot. I'm very, very, very concerned, and am wondering if this is a very serious injury, something that can not only leave him out of the end of this season, but possibly next too, and maybe in the end of his career, dare I say, since this is year 20, he's 38 years old. So this is the kind of concern we are this morning in regards to LeBron James. I don't think most of the ESPNs and all of those guys are ready to do that because they think he's a bionic man. But of course, us Laker fans know he's not. He's not bionic. He stopped being bionic as soon as he put on a Laker jersey. We've had him miss more than we've had him, and we've had him miss for serious injuries that he'd never experienced before. And this, when he says he hears a pop, the doc said that best case scenario, this is almost like when you pop your finger, just like I just did right now. Maybe an ankle or something, and but my thing is, we know about the foot injury. See, all of us here in LA knew that he's been dealing with a foot all this time. I don't think Doc really had been following LeBron's previous foot ailments that had led up to this moment. Usually stuff like this reminds me of plantar fasciitis, when a guy has long, serious foot concerns that have been hurting him for a long period of time. He hears a pop in the foot, and usually the plantar fasciitis pops, and then from there, I don't know what happens. I don't know if you need surgery or if you just let it heal. I don't know, but it's usually a common thing when a guy has plantar fasciitis. Eventually, the skin just pops, and I think it re-heals after that or something. I don't know, but that's what I think may have happened. If that is what happened, he's probably out for the season. He's probably gonna be out for the season, but he'll probably be back next year and be cool. That's not gonna keep him out for a whole year, but it'll probably keep him out for the rest of our year. So it's a lot of stuff like that. I remember when Powell had that. I think most Laker fans will remember when Powell had plantar fasciitis and it popped on him. I think he was out for some time. I don't really remember, but that's who had the injury that will remind us of what it was like. So, hey, man, either way, I can tell you this. I do not expect LeBron James to play in the next game against Memphis. If that's who we play. For whatever reason, this particular week, I could never, and if you guys have been following my videos, I can never figure out who we play over these next two games. It is Memphis, and then it's OKC. Then it's the Timberwolves. Then it's Memphis again. from what I understand, or is it Golden State again? We're going to leave it at that. But whatever the case may be, we know at least the next 2 games are finally solidified for the very first time on this channel. OKC after the Memphis game. So I don't think Bron's going to play against Memphis, man. Given the fact that we needed him to play bully ball in this last game for us to get scoring. His shot hasn't fallen in a couple games. We've been without him a lot of the time. I don't expect the adjustment will be overwhelming, to be honest with you, in the short term. But of course, we're going to need him in these games to ultimately seal them. I do think we can do a lot of damage without him, though. The way that this team has been attacking, there's plenty of ways to get scoring, rebounds, and other things. But continuity without LeBron James is going to be difficult. Easy buckets without LeBron James is difficult. Guaranteed scoring without LeBron James is difficult. And you guys saw much of a difficult time we were having scoring at the beginning of Dallas's matchup, which is why we were down 27 to begin with. We couldn't buy a bucket. So he was the only person scoring, him and AD, in the first half. And a part of that was because Bron figured out that we needed to score in the paint while everybody else was shooting threes. So obviously we need him for our basketball IQ and ultimately for our attack. So, I'm not assuming that we're not going to be able to win games without him. I think we will. I think we can still make the playoffs without him as we push forward. I still think our floor is pretty high based on the team that we have assembled, but our ceiling, it gets capped off. You can't win a championship without the king. So that's really what it comes down to, man. I don't know how many games he's going to miss. Obviously, we don't know how bad this thing is at all, but what I'm telling you is my concern is pretty high. Based on what I saw, based on what the doctor was saying, based on LeBron James's tone and what he was saying in regards to the injury, it ain't looking like this is about to be something he's about to shrug off. So we'll just wait it out. It really sucks that we have such a fantastic team. We have such high stakes on the line. It's such a legacy-defining stretch of basketball games. For the king. If he could be a part of this, is probably one of the most important journeys to try to fight your way through, and one of the most fun when you consider the type of talent that he has around him and the possibility of what they can do together. So you definitely want to see him get his body together and be a part of it. You know what I mean? It's set up for him to win. All of this is set up for him to succeed. So hopefully he can be a part of that, and that's really what it is, man. So we'll of course keep prayers up for the best for all of our guys and their health, and that's really what it's about, man. We now look forward to the next game. Of course, I'll have something for you tomorrow. That game's at 4:30 against the Memphis Grizzlies in Memphis. The environment should be intense. The Shannon Sharpe situation last game will make it so that they're going to be extra keen on trying to beat us. And Memphis is slowly but surely starting to play a little better, so they'll probably be ready for us more than anything. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the last time they played well was against us. We triggered all of these struggles that they've had, so I'm pretty sure they're going to want to see us. The problem is for them, we ain't the same team. We're a lot better. Unfortunately, of course, no king. That'll dumb it down a little bit, but they're going to have to deal with some things that they didn't have to deal with before that should match up very well with them. I think one of the things we were trying to do when assembling this team was match up with them. We saw exactly how well Jaren Jackson defended us. We've seen how good Brandon Clark rebounded in the playoffs last year. We know what they can do. We saw Tillman a few days ago and how he's starting to ascend and put his name for himself. This is a good stretch for Tillman, so we're going to be aware of him tomorrow. No Steven Adams. So, it's going to be serious. They got a good defensive front court. We have a great defensive front court. And that's how I feel about it. After yesterday, I don't know who's better. Maybe some people in Cleveland. I heard some people talk about Brook Lopez and Giannis in Milwaukee. Fair. But I don't know who's better than AD and Vanderbilt right now in the front court defensively. I just don't know. You're going to have to show me something. Because what I saw was something yesterday from our team. And so that's really what it comes down to. Now that I have this type of belief in our front court defensively, I'm pretty much in a mindset where we just got to throw Bamba in the mix, give ourselves even more interior defensive presence. I would love for us to call up Jay Huff, have him as a part of our rotation, as I've been talking about, using Wenyen Gabriel where we can. You know what I mean? We have a serious, lengthy defensive front court. And it ain't just Vanderbilt and AD. It's those names too. You put them in that rotation constantly. You keep them all fresh and healthy for one another, and you're going to beat teams. Even teams like Memphis that have those type of players, you got more of them as of right now. It just is what it is. So that's what I'm here to say. I think the Los Angeles Lakers are very, very seriously talented assembled team at this point. How do you say that? Talentedly assembled. I don't know how to say that, but we'll put together some really good talent, and I know for a fact that if it all continues to gel the way that it is, it's going to be difficult to beat us. The Lakers yesterday, they tried some things they had no business trying because they don't know themselves. I don't think our deficit was a reflection of what we are when we're used properly. That's the thing. It's like you're not going to see us fall down by 27 like that pretty much ever again. Why? Because I don't think you're going to see us lean on our shooter like that ever again. If he starts shooting poorly, we're going to learn from that and go to other people because we have those other people to go to. We don't have to lean on anybody. That's another thing because the team is so deep. So if for some reason Malik Beasley has another game where he's that cold, we're going to cap that off. As soon as he goes 0 for 5, it's over. We're not going to go down by that much if we're learning from what we've just seen. And what I'm telling you is because I've been paying attention to the team all year, it's one of the things that this coaching staff and this team is really good at, is learning from its mistakes and capping off on things that they should not do anymore based on the way that they scheme certain times. So if they've made a mistake shooting the ball a lot, they're going to stop that. It's just the tendencies of the team. Even though the rotations don't necessarily reflect that, all in all, we're talking about the tendency that they tend to show when they make mistakes on the floor. So we tend to patch things up in that way, and I expect us not to allow that to happen again. Some of those plays we were running simultaneously while he was bricking, we're getting intercepted. We're going to get better at running those plays and or not run those plays anymore and start running better things, I'd imagine. And it's just going to be then about who can find a way to get us down by 27 when we're not doing those things. And what I'm telling you is on paper, it's going to be difficult to do. It's going to be difficult to do for teams because we have defenders, we have shooters, we have interior play, we have talent in various areas. And, I will say this, obviously we were missing D'Angelo Russell. That's a whole nother all-star level player that didn't even play, who will be very pivotal in regards to helping us make up for what LeBron James ain't going to be able to do if he's out. But it's one of those situations where I look up and I say, he can go off for 30. With Vanderbilt in any situation, he can affect the game the way he did in this one, whether the score is up, whether it's down, whether it's, you know what I mean? You start thinking like, well, what if you're in a situation against the Lakers where you're up by 5, it's like third quarter to 15, let's say 3 minutes left in the third quarter, nearing the fourth quarter, and Vanderbilt starts doing this. He starts doing what he did in the third quarter of this game. And all of a sudden you find yourself down by 26 because he starts doing that. And Anthony Davis is hot, and Austin Reeves is hot. Like, these are the type of things that you're going to have to take into account when you face us. You know what I mean? The fact that Vanderbilt, it don't really matter what the score is. He can just do that. That thing that he did yesterday, he could just do it. So if you're up by 20, you're down by 20, you're not safe against a team when a guy like this is on the floor. And his help defense is Anthony Davis. And his help defense is Mo Bamba. It's just a situation where I look at Dennis Schroeder and I say his defense was very impressive on the guard. In the guard space yesterday. I think he's had a very good defensive season for the Lakers. If he continues to be able to have the success that he had against Kyrie Irving yesterday, it continues to do that against other guards and give us a little more of that foot speed defensive play. Again, you got to take into account that now he's running guys into rim protection. And that's always been my thing. That's one of the reasons why I like the Orlando Magic team so much. Another team that we got to consider with their front court as a talented front court with all those 7-footers defensively. But, you look at Cleveland, as I mentioned already. All of these teams, their guards are able to have more success defensively because a lot of times, even if they're getting beat, they're funneling people into rim protection. They're funneling people right into shot blockers. And that's a dynamic the Lakers hadn't allowed themselves for the last 2 years running small ball. Russell Westbrook, when he funnels somebody, he get beat, they're going to the rim. Austin Reeves would get beat, go to the rim. We'd have these situations where we would not ever allow ourselves any weak side help. Now it's the complete opposite. Now you've raised the overall efficiency rating of any of the guards on our team, whether they're able to stay in front of their guys or not, because the help is so effective. You got them running into Vanderbilt and AD now. So it's like, these are the type of things that just make your team overall more effective, that make the players overall more effective. It doesn't have it so that their weaknesses are glaring as much. And these things just ultimately make it for why you expect that this is one of the best teams in the NBA right now, even though that they don't have the record to show it, obviously. this is not a reflection of them at all. You know, that record is just something they inherited. And now you can see where these kids, the young gunners, I mean, we've already had a Malik Beasley game. We just had a Vanderbilt game. Like, this is going to be a thing. The D-Lo game is coming, where he going to go off for 28 and 15, something like that. Watch, it's coming. And we're going to understand exactly how much firepower we have now. And so that's why any LeBron James injury is just overwhelmingly devastating for the team and for himself, because it's like, I don't know where this team would rank as one of the best teams he's ever played on, but I can tell you this is one of the best teams he's had to face what it is he's faced with this record. When you think of all the teams that he's played on over the years, this is one of the teams that you say, okay, if I got to fight my way in the playoffs with only 21 games left, this is one of the best rosters LeBron James ever played on for that task. Is essentially what I'm telling you. For that task, yeah, you want a bunch of young gunners, you want a bunch of depth, you want Anthony Davis, you know what I mean, playing defense, you want Vanderbilt playing defense. Like, you know what I mean? I really do believe that. I really believe that. And he's obviously been on some championship teams. But I don't know how many of them would have gave him this much defensive help. Not this much. Maybe one of them Heat teams. But that's about it. So that's just what I'm here to tell you, man. I think this is one of the best teams he's ever played on. And I think that it's going to be very difficult to sit and watch them do what it is that we need to do to get in the playoffs. And I think they'll succeed. I don't think they'll fail without him, but it's just going to be tough to watch. So that's what I'm trying to brace my mindset for. Is life without the king. You know what I mean? Because his foot is going to need to heal. And if we send him back out there just because they tell us we can send him back out there, we're probably going to make it worse. That's the reality of it. It's not even about whether or not can he go next game. No, he should not. He should not go next game. That's what Brandon's telling you. That's what BDF 44 is telling you. You know, probably I don't want to see Braun for at least another week, no matter what the diagnosis is. Let that thing heal a little better than we've allowed it to. We rushed him out there trying to pass up Kareem. He got it. Rushed out there playing that damn All-Star game. He shouldn't even been out there. And he shouldn't be out there right now. So I think AD the same thing, to be honest with you. He's playing on it. He looks great. But that we know he should be resting that thing. But it is what it is. This is what happens when you drop all the games we did and do whatever, all the things that led up to this. Now we want to go forward. We've done everything we're supposed to do. Everybody's happy. Rob Pelinka's done all his job. But the problem was the same problem it always was. When you build around an old guy and a guy that's kind of fragile, this is what it comes down to. Health. It never came down to whether or not you were willing to go all in with your picks. It never was about whether or not you had the right coach. It was never about any of that. What it was about was whether or not if you got all of that, Bron and AD would be upright in the end so you could win. That's all it's ever been about. And unfortunately, this is what the answer is going to be. Whatever ends up happening here is the answer. And look, I'm not disappointed. This is fine. Because it's just what comes with the king. You know what I mean? He's an older guy. But it is where we are. It's just the truth, man. We just got to deal with this injury. And so hopefully all will go well. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'll be praying. Always do. But it's rough, man. You just hate to see the scenario play out like this, where the red carpet is rolled out, but not so much health. You know what I mean? It's the worst thing in the world. So that's just my expression. All in all, we still got teams to beat. It's not about the name on the back of the jersey; it's about the name on the front. As far as I can tell, that's one player down and about 14 other healthy. So we got games to win. I'm sorry, I don't feel good about that. Having to say, well, we got to move on without Bron, but I'm pretty sure that's all it is left to do. We got to win these games. And so Memphis still got to deal with us. Minnesota, all of them. OKC. Listen, OKC is a team, I'm not jumping ahead of Memphis, but OKC is a team where we just lost to them, and we really didn't necessarily strategize properly against them because we were too busy focused on making the day beautiful for Bron and making sure he passed Kareem. But let me tell you, we needed that game just as bad as we need all these games ahead of us right now, and we didn't win it, and we didn't take it as seriously just the same. And we were aware, we were always aware of what it is that we're dealing with right now. The race against other teams, we were aware. But we hadn't made the trades yet, and we were still chasing Kareem, and we let a game that was pivotal against a team like OKC slip away. We know where we're at in regards to the standings. We know they're right there. They're right now. They're the 13th seed. They're underneath us, if I'm not mistaken. We just leapfrogged them. We can't afford to be losing no more games to that team, and we still got 2 more. We got 2 more against the Bulls. We got 2 more against the Suns. We got 2 more against the Grizz. We got 2 more against the Jazz. 2 more against the Timberwolves. You seeing all these teams? The Clippers are got another game with us. We got a game against the Orlando and all that length. We got 2 games against Houston, even though they have no interest in winning. What I'm telling you is, I've taken a look at the rest of the schedule, and I'm aware that just about everybody we see twice. Just about everybody left, we see twice. So if you say there's 20 games left, chances are it's only 12 matchups left. Something like that. Or 13 matchups left. Same teams. We got to zero in on these teams, start making the schemes and the different things necessary to defeat them without LeBron James. You got to have a plan to beat all of them without the king. That's essentially what I'm telling you. We got to assume that we're not going to have him into the playoffs. That's what I'm here to say. And if we get better news than that, good. But that is exactly what we need to be strategizing and putting ourselves in a position to be able to do. Because I think anything less than that is not preparing properly, because that injury looks serious to me. So that's where we at, Darvin Ham. We got to start strategizing ways to make sure we get easy buckets in the paint, have those assist numbers go up with D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and Dennis Schroeder. They got to be our assist men. You know what I mean? We got to find ways of utilizing Rui Hachimura so that he can be the big body that Bron is not, because they're basically the same size. We got to get him slashing at the bucket, getting us easy buckets in the paint, things like that. We can't overuse people. We got to lean on Lonnie a lot more. You know what I mean? We got to keep the guys that we have left healthy. They're not superstars. They're role players, which means they can roll an ankle and be out for 2 weeks just the same. So you got to keep them healthy. You give them 40 minutes every night for the next 18 games. Half of those guys are going to be gone by game 15. Got to keep healthy rotations in place. And that is important when you have depth. That's why he gave us all this depth, so that we can use these guys, keep them all fresh. So Darvin's got to be smart about that, man. No more playing Malik Beasley 34 minutes. For what? If he ain't going for 50, shooting the ball 100 times, then he needs to be sitting down. Straight up. So that's what needs to be said, man. There's no more funny business. You know, we got centers, coach. Use them, please. We talk about it a lot. There's no reason to play a bunch of forwards on the floor, man. Don't get cute. Stop that nonsense. It doesn't work. We don't like it. The length is going to help you. We talked so much about it. Rim protection. It's what we're going to win on. Small ball. It's why we lost. I mean, it ain't deeper than that. Proof is in the numbers and the pudding. And it's definitely in the record. Please use your size without LeBron James. And so that's where my head's at, man. That's what it is. We got plenty of guards to use in rotation. Most of them can play small forward. Nobody should be leaned on too much to do anything. Everybody can score. Everybody can assist. Everybody can hit a shot or two. They all of decent height for the most part, except for Dennis Schroeder. There's no reason to not play everybody. So that's where my mind goes, man. I think we lost the game because we leaned on the shooter too much in the last game, and he bricked everything. And we were down by 27, and Vanderbilt pulled us out of it by himself, basically. And that's pretty much what we saw. Anthony Davis stayed steady the whole time, and we were able to win because of it. That is the game. That's the game in a nutshell. And if you think most teams are going to be that soft in the middle, you know what I mean, without any rim protection themselves, where we were able to just come back and just, punch them in the gut the whole time to get back in the game. Most teams have better players to defeat you in the paint. Most guys are not going to be Luka Doncic in the paint, and who else do they have down there? Christian Wood don't play much defense down there. If you find yourself down by 27 against most teams, you're not coming back, because what we did in order to come back was not going to be possible. Salute to Kobe Bryant, of course, but we can't shoot that poorly from behind the arc and expect to win too many more games. It's just not going to happen. You can't expect to defend the perimeter as poorly as we have since making this trade and expect to win. I'm sorry. As much as I like our unit, I love our unit. The most glaring thing about us is we are not guarding the perimeter properly. We're not. I get it. We picked up Vanderbilt. He's supposed to be the best perimeter defender in the world. I agree. Who else is playing perimeter defense? Because these threes is going up, and it's looking stupid out here the way we let them Dallas Mavericks and Portland Trail Blazers shoot the ball. And all I keep hearing about the Portland game is there's nothing anybody can do about it. We need to be able to do something about it. That's not good enough. I'm sorry. And I'll be the only pundit telling y'all it ain't good enough. But if we don't find a way to stop defending the perimeter the way we've been defending it, we're not going to be as good as we expect to be. You got to defend the perimeter better. Teams can't be going off for 48 threes and hitting 17 on them. I'm sorry. You let them attempt too many. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, if they want to overshoot, that's fine. But it can't be because they seen it fall 100 times in the first half. That's why they kept shooting, because they had so much success shooting. So this is where I say, we need to explore other rotations in certain situations in practice to see what works defending the perimeter in practice. We got Malik Beasley now, so we can simulate more defensive three-point scenarios because we have shooters. D'Angelo Russell's on the team. Let's figure out how to defend the perimeter better, man. Because some of it was structural, in terms of how we're defending it. As we said, drop coverage and different things have been talked about. But some of it was effort. And guys just not getting out to the three-point line. And guys not having the right people on the floor that can get out there quick enough. So these are things that we got to acknowledge and be intent on, because most of these damn teams that we're going to be facing, they shoot it. They shoot it well, man. So if we're going to find ourselves being deficient in guarding the three in this era, it don't matter how talented we think we are in other areas, you're going to get beat. Teams are dropping 175, 176 points on teams. They're shooting threes. Dame had 13 of them by himself in the last game. We can't, you know what I'm saying? Nah. You got to defend the perimeter better, and you can't just say, well, the numbers tell me we're good. I heard AD say that. I heard Coach say that. The numbers ain't telling me that. I don't care about the numbers, to be honest with you. I don't care about the results. You know what I'm saying? If we're not effective in guarding the perimeter, then how the hell do the numbers tell us that we're effective guarding the perimeter? Stop telling us that. Stop selling us that, yo. Seriously. Because that don't make no sense. If the team's shooting well and we're not effectively stopping them from doing it, then whatever we're doing needs to be changed. I don't care what the numbers tell you, yo. So that's what I want to say. I don't want to hear that no more. When teams shooting as well as Portland and Dallas just did. No, man. No. If the analytics are telling you that you're doing a good job and they're still hitting shots, then the analytics is lying. Period. It's not working. Do something else. So that's where I'm at as a Laker fan. I get tired of stuff like that. It's like, I get it. Analytics are important. And I respect and lean on them. But if their numbers are telling me something, that the results are giving me different stuff, it's just like, I don't care what the numbers say no more. Give me something else, yo. That's it. So that's the end of the story there. Teams are going to shoot above 40% against us if we continue to defend the perimeter the way that we are. And you could be closing out to the best of your ability. It could tell you whatever he wants, and these guys still hitting shots. So we better force them away from the three-point line. How about that? Run them off of that. That's what we need to do. Close these possessions out a different way. That's why I like using Austin Reeves, because he closes these possessions out. How does he do it? Drawing offensive fouls. It's effective. It's effective. Close out this, that, the third. Nah. Draw a foul. Flop. Spin off of a guy. That's how he closes these possessions. That's how Derek Fisher used to close possessions. How Chris Paul closes possessions. It works. That's defense. I hate to say it, but it's defense. It is what it is. But be effective in closing these possessions out. That's all I'm saying. Offensive rebounding, stuff like that. Defensive rebounding, rather. Close the possession out. Because if we got a nice hand in the face of a three-point shooter and he's shooting in rhythm and it goes in and we closed out real good and it went in, guess what? It went in. And we could tip our hat all we want, but if that happens 40 times, you're going to be waving the white flag while you're tipping your hat. There are other things we can do. Let's do those. So, that's where I'm at, man. Concerned Laker fan, very happy about the win, very upset about the 27-point deficit. But I think that was adjustable. You just don't make that mistake anymore. Rookie mistake, simply put. And I think that because we were able to put a better team on the floor than the Dallas Mavericks, we were able to take advantage of them regardless of what the score was. And I think what was seen on paper, what the numbers tell you, our roster would have been able to do against their roster, was shown. We saw that. And if we played that game 100 times, I think you'd probably see something similar. Because I don't know that they're ever going to be able to do anything about Vanderbilt and AD. defensively or offensively for AD's on AD side. I just don't think so. If AD's shooting and defending the way that he did in that game, he's always going to be able to take advantage of pretty much anyone's in front of him. And so getting him to play at that level and being that confident and in fact winning in that way is going to be the puzzle for the Los Angeles Lakers. Try to get that out of him every night. Can he impact winning like he did against Dallas every night? And if the answer is yes, then we'll probably end up champs. It's literally that simple. So that is where my head is, man. Lakers, going up against Memphis, you just got to be ready for a physical matchup. Got to be ready for a high-spirited matchup. I think Ja will be healthy. I'm not sure what's going on with their team. Desmond Bane will be healthy. That's another thing. So the Memphis Grizzlies, they've been struggling. Everybody knows they've been struggling. I think people are assuming they're going to struggle. I do not. I think this is just like any other ebbs and flows of your season. When a team's playing really, really, really well, and then they have a lull where they're playing really, really, really bad, that's what Memphis is on. Didn't they have like a 15 or 16 game winning streak or something weird like that before they ran to us and we knocked them off with the Shannon Sharp game? And now they're going through the lull. And at the beginning of that day, when we played that team, I told you guys they're itching to lose because they've been doing certain things that are showing me they're either mentally fatigued from all this winning or just working away from some of those tendencies that helped them win so much naturally as the roster is starting to have players shake off, guys getting hurt, stuff like that. And they were ready to lose. That's what I was telling you guys leading up to that Memphis game. I ain't done the homework on them. I'm not telling you anything about their tendencies, but what I'm saying is they are a team that has highs and lows. So what that means is there's a good chance that elevator's going to go back up. And when it does, they're going to be doing a lot of winning. The players that I'm looking at, Desmond Bane, Xavier Tillman, those guys are starting to pick it up at the same time. Desmond Bane has been hurt for the majority of the season to start the year, working his way back from injury. When he's healthy, I call him Buff Reggie Miller. So, again, perimeter defense, Memphis Grizzlies, got to play him twice, must win all our games. If you don't defend the perimeter against Memphis, he's going to go for 40 himself. He's poised for it. He's good enough to do it, and he ain't been in that shape all year long. And that's the problem. He's going against the Lakers. Everybody plays well when they've been coming back from injury against the Lakers. And the circumstance as is, everybody's going to be looking at Dillon Brooks. Everybody's going to be looking at Ja Morant. I'm looking at Desmond Bane because I know tomorrow is a Desmond Bane game. And if he goes for 36, 7 3-point shots, we lost. Especially if nobody's thinking about him, which I think a lot of people aren't. That's an all-star level. When he retires, if he plays 15, 20 years, Hall of Fame level shooter. Okay? That's who Desmond Bane is going to be. It's exactly who he's going to be. He's the second best player on that Memphis Grizzlies team, in my opinion. With respect to Jaren Jackson, who's a phenomenal defender. Dillon Brooks, who may close out better than anybody in the league in terms of perimeter defense, ironically. Dillon Brooks. But I do believe the second best player on that team is Desmond Bane. I think that. And he just hasn't had the chance to show that in probably over 12 months based on his health. But he's healthy. So if he happens to drop 25, 30 points on us tomorrow, just know that I expect it. And I'm telling everybody to watch out for him. And if we don't guard the perimeter, he's going to be the one to kill us. He will be the one. So, it's gonna be special though. Jaren Jackson, Anthony Davis, the way they've been defending both of them, it's gonna be impossible. Like I said, Brandon Clark is like the quintessential player you think of when you consider wings that defend and fly out of the gym and get offensive rebounds and stuff. He's one of the first names to come to mind in the entire league. You know what I'm saying? This is just one of the better teams in the league who has had struggles, who isn't necessarily afraid of us in terms of how they match up with this roster. These two teams match up pretty interestingly on paper. So it's going to be tough without Bron for us. But with what we can do, it's going to be tough on Ja. He's going to have to deal with, just like they did, just like Kyrie did, he's going to have to deal with Vanderbilt and AD, just like anybody else who are going forward. So make it tough on him. Make it tough on him. You never know when Ja's going to have one of them super Michael Jordan type games, but he's capable. We know that. Nobody will be surprised if he goes for 50 and 15. Especially in this era. Won't be me surprised. But we know he don't like to defend, just like Kyrie Irving, just like Luka Doncic. He's not a defender. The rest of their team is. So what I want to do is just like I say, any other situation, you turn the non-defensive player into a defensive player. That's what you do. You make it so that he's backpedaling. You make it so that he's swiping. You make it so that he has to do too much and is ultimately not as comfortable on the offensive end because of it. That's what you want to do with Ja Morant. And, of course, don't get overexcited at the fact that this crowd is going to be behind him as he jumps over everybody. Because he's going to. It's the Lakers. He's going to do something special. So that's what I'll say, man. Just be ready for that. Tomorrow, of course, at 4:30, we'll make another video about that game. I wish the Lakers played today. Kind of. Then again, they need to rest there for the injuries, obviously. But this is a team where, for the very first time, I can honestly say we have a fun team to watch do something that's going to be historic if they pull it off. And then from there, if they're able to stay healthy, because they would have pulled it off, you would think they would be one of the best teams in the league headed toward the playoffs. That's how you look at the team. Like, if they can pull off what it is they have to do and win the majority of these 20 games, now you're looking at them as probably, by the end of it, it's probably the team that's going to win the West. If they pull that off. You see what I'm saying? We're not there now, but by the end of that road, yeah, you're going to look at them as one top 1, 2, 3 teams in the East, in the NBA. In the NBA. Not just the West and East. The whole league. So that's what we're looking at, man. I'm a firm believer that this team is in a position to win most of these games. Based on how we're constructed, based on what I know about some of the players that are already left behind here from who were not traded, and based on our core and the greatness that they're capable of displaying themselves. We ain't going to lose too much. We just have to not get in our own way, coach. Rotations, schemes, etc. If we can keep those things under control, the championship is the goal. And I think it's possible. I look at the rest of these teams, none of them scare me. I look at Denver, they're the cream of the crop in the West. We have what we need to attack them in the ways they don't want us to. In other words, Denver is probably in a position where they would probably rather play most other teams than us in the West based on the matchups. So if we happen to get the 8th seed and we see them, I like that. I don't like Jokic against AD ever. It's just a bad situation for Jokic. 9 out of 10 times, he just don't play well against AD. It's basically his kryptonite. So when you consider that, and then you can see Vando there, and the ability for us to not allow much to go on in the paint, he's still going to be able to get his. But his team's going to be in some trouble dealing with us. KCP, he knows us, we know him. So it's like some of the stuff that they're going to be doing, how healthy would Murray be? How healthy would Porter be? Would they be able to fend off a guy like Malik Beasley, who's obviously going to be fired up to play his old team? Like, these are the type of things I'm looking at, So, obviously, with us being in the situation we're in, it's realistic we get an 8th seed or a 7th seed, and so we would be realistically matched up against Memphis or Denver in that situation. But I don't know if that doesn't still shuffle you guys. I'm not sure it doesn't. So we keep our eyes open. But, some of these teams, I'm telling you, as I continue to speak about the Lakers' interior defense, I look at the Clippers last night, and the way they played, I think they played, was a Denver Nuggets, and they got beat up and stomped out in the paint, and it wasn't pretty. They need somebody to guard the paint, just like the Dallas Mavericks do. The Clippers do not scare me if I match up with them and I'm the Lakers right now. They obviously, without Bron James, you don't feel too good about going against Kawhi, but what I'm telling you is, on paper, we can attack them the same way that we attack Dallas. Kill them in the paint. Just continue to attack them in their paint because they don't have it. Plumlee, Zubac, they don't have it. They got the same problem Dallas does, and I wouldn't be surprised if they fall out, especially since they got Russell Westbrook being used in some weird ways. I heard yesterday that he was benched in the fourth quarter in overtime after having a very good first half. I don't even know what that means, man. You never know when he's going to play well. That's what I was trying to explain to everybody in my Russell Westbrook conversation. You're not wrong for sitting him. You're not wrong for playing him because at any moment he can have the tale of two halves and tear up everything after having a fantastic first half. It's just no way of knowing, and then Ty Lue just has to push the button and live with the results. He lost, so everybody's killing him. But the reality is, if he would have played Russell Westbrook, it probably would have went horribly because that's what happens when you play him in the fourth quarter and in overtime. We've watched this for 2 years as Laker fans, so I'm hearing people kill Ty Lue for that, and I just want to throw that in on the side. When do you know when to play him?